and then I'm going to go through the slide that I have for us. I can share it. There's nothing confidential about it. Yes, so I will. So maybe I should even state the easiest way for me to share. The easiest way for me to share is to send to everybody in the Meetup community. So let me just quickly grab for us the Meetup community, because it has a portion there where I can send email to everybody. So instead of me having to be asking for your emails one by one, that makes a lot more sense to just send directly to everybody via that too. Join here. So if you join the community on Meetup, it makes it easier. So that way I send one email out, it goes to everybody. All right, so without wasting any more time, I've gone to drink some water. So Power BI, the value proposition. I'm going to be a bit fast because I don't want to bore too many people, but don't worry, you will even get the document. So that's even good. So a lot of people used to be like, all right, there's Excel, there's Python, there's R, there's a whole lot of bunch of tools out there. Why should I learn Power BI? What is Power BI really supposed to physically, solve for me in a, let's say you work in an organization, so you are not learning it just to say you know how to do this. It's because you want to use it to create value. So this is what I have found. There are two categories of people that typically benefit from knowing Power BI. If you are the kind of person that you already do reports in Excel, or you consume reports in Excel, remember what I said just now. You do, which means you build reports, or you consume, which means you're not the one building the report, but other people share reports to you that you use to, achieve whatever it is you do. You're going to need Power BI. So that's category number one. Now, category number two is if you are a database person. So you build database, you build even the BI side of it, where you script reports that we send to people. You are not now Excel now. The one I said before was the Excel. You consume or you build reports in Excel. Here is now a case of where you interact with database, you interact with structured data, you fine tune. Maybe you're an OBIE person, or a MSBI, or a Microsoft SQL Server, or a MySQL Server person, but your work involves you exposing reports to people, and some other time you have to need to communicate, as in bring data from different places and try and model them and expose to other people to consume in whatever portal or whatever system. You will find also Power BI useful. So these two general categories of people, you will find value in Power BI. It's something that you definitely, if you ask me, I would say you should learn. If you don't want to learn Power BI, well, look for an alternative in that space that does this, because it's something by the time I go through the value proposition, you'll see why it will add value to your work. Even make some things easy for you, so you don't have to be going to start building some complex things from scratch. So Power BI allows you to have more interactive insights, which means it allows you to do more with your data. You can connect to over 150 data sources, and because it's built recently, so they used all the best practices in terms of visuals, in terms of technology. So everything you build in it kind of pops out. The beauty comes out easily and is interactive. It just leverages all what is new in the technology space to give you reports that are snappier compared to what you will have done with conventional tools, more interactive, and also the kind of things that people like. So as I go on, you'll get to hear them. I'm going to share this, like I said. So the focus is really around three things. Our ability to, I need to use my hand to write this now. So ability to, to know more. So you want to connect to all of your organization's data, wherever they are, whatever it is you're recording already, you want to be able to access them. Okay, so what this means is that you have data maybe in Excel, you have data in any of the software as a service tools you use, HR tools, CRM, your distribution management system, your, whatever tools, your ERP and all of those tools. So instead of you needing to worry about, can this tool talk to that tool? How do I combine the data? Power BI is built with that concept of your data comes from anywhere. So you are not locked, it's not a data source specific. So we call it data source agnostic. So before now, you know, you will see some people, they have to be either a Microsoft shop or an Oracle shop. Why? Because it's very difficult to get Microsoft tools to talk to Oracle tools. So most people before used to have to commit to one platform and make sure that whatsoever technology that they need to set up to extract data is a technology that is compatible with that platform that already all their existing data are hosted in. But now, no. So with Power BI, you are able to connect to all of your data wherever they are. So that's number one. Number two is the fact that you are able to do more. So what you now know with all of this data that you have. So with Power BI, it allows you to build richer models. So in fact, nowadays, companies are beginning to talk about data lake, where they can just dump all their data and then connect directly to it from Power BI or any of the analysis tools. So they can do richer analysis. So they can show how what is happening in one remote unit is affecting something else. You know, like one company even does as far as to show how much sales they make by energy consumed. You know, so all those things are possible because you can make your analysis tool to cross-map data coming from two completely different systems. And then how fast? You know, that's why I think they call it BI tools, business intelligence. You want to notice as soon as they're happening, not until somebody comes to office, download the data, build the report, and email out. So Power BI makes that possible, and any BI tool generally. So it's just because I'm talking about Power BI that I'm mentioning Power BI, but other BI tools do the same thing because that's the differentiating factor about BI. You want sometimes as close to real time as possible so that as data is being pushed into the data sources reflecting in your report. Okay, so that's just that one. And then this is the architecture. I'm not going to talk about it because, like I said, I want to be a bit faster. If you have any question, please do ask. Only your questions can make me talk longer than I intend on any segment. So this is the architecture. I'm going to skip it. Then I mentioned you can connect to over, now it's not even just over 100, it's over 150. Every month they keep kind of adding new data sources. And then if you already know Excel, you have an advantage because almost everything you know in terms of formula, in terms of some tools, and even some data mashup techniques you know in Excel, they are kind of like the same way in Power BI. So you will not be starting from level 1 if you are coming from an Excel knowledge background. Okay, and then everything you do, the same thing you do in Excel, if you do it in Power BI, it comes a lot better because I told you they are using the modern engines. So they try to leverage all the new things that already exist now without having, unlike Excel where they have to make things backward compatible. That's what is really stunting the growth of Excel. It has to be backward compatible. Power BI has none of those weights, those handcuffs to drag along. And then there's no fragmentation in, you know, there's no multiple versions of the same thing. You know, so there's always only one version of the truth, which means if I send a report out now and I find out that I made a mistake, if I correct the mistake, that correction will flow to all of you that I've sent to before now. So unlike Excel, where I will have to email it again and say, oh, please disregard the previous one, this is the updated one. And some people will not see that and they will use that, and then we'll be in the meeting and people will be opening different versions of the same report. In Power BI, that is not there, no fragmentation. And then you can automate, so you don't want to be repeating processes. I used to work for one telco company. The big, you know, like 70% of my work, and not just my work, because there were 3 of us that were hired for that role. You know, 70% of our work is to be doing the same report day in, day out, daily report. It's just a small fraction, which we call ad hoc report. It's just a small fraction of things that we do that are strategic, where the company is trying to expand to another country. So one time they were trying to expand to Europe, and me, I cover for Africa. So they were like, I should send some specific analysis about Francophone country that they can use to push their bid into, I don't remember the country they are trying to enter in Europe, but it was a Francophone country. And so if there was Power BI then, maybe they will not need to have 3 of us. Maybe they will need to have only 1 of us. And then in fact, that one of us will not be having to be doing the daily report anymore. You'll be doing more of strategic reporting, or doing things that are more strategic to generating in ideas and matching things, rather than always doing report day in, day out. Why? In Power BI, you can take 1 week or take 1 month, or depending on complexity of the report, build it once and automate it to keep refreshing by itself. In fact, no longer are you limited to daily reports. You can tell it to be doing hourly throughout the work hour. So anybody who logs in or who checks the report will see things as it has happened in the most recent hour. So you can tell it to refresh 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., it can refresh if you're on the pro license 8 times a day. So that this in itself is something that a lot of companies are trying to take advantage of. So they no longer, because what happens with the fact that you have people building the same report is the fact that when somebody becomes expert at it, and when he leaves, it becomes a problem. Report that used to come at 11 a.m. now starts coming 4 p.m. because the person who is now doing it is not as fast as that guy, or so there is no consistency, and then mistakes can happen. And then again, like I tell you, why not automate it and let that person be able to do more value adding things rather than just doing the same thing every day. So it allows for that. Also, you richer consumption on computer. You see the way it looks on the left, on your phone. It reflows to capture the way your phone is, and it's not like you're looking at your computer screen on your phone, which happens when you send email to people and you attach Excel file. When you open it on your phone, they never enjoy the way it looks. Most times people still wait until they go and open the report in their computer, because it doesn't always look nice in phone. Sometimes even some things won't show. So about Power BI, nope. You can set alerts. So instead of you just doing the normal red, yellow, green, you can always say, what, if this threshold or this KPI has been met, I want to get an email notification, an alert, that even if I have Power BI on my phone, it will come up as a notification on my phone, the same way your SMS alert and some other alerts show up on your phone. And then even if I don't have it on my phone, well, definitely I will see the alert pushed to my email address. So that's another thing. You can export to PowerPoint. So those of us who need to do presentation of some of our reports, this makes life easy. You just export the entire thing to PowerPoint. Then you can just be adding your comments, or like you having to always go and be copying the charts from Excel to PowerPoint, rearranging the structure, and so many laborious things you will do. I even know a company that, because the guy does more of the presentation of his reports. So in his Power BI, he put his slide 1 of his PowerPoint in page 1. In fact, he did it such a way that when he exports, he gets his complete PowerPoint slide presentation out of Power BI. In fact, if he does not even want to use PowerPoint, he can just use his Power BI as a presentation tool, because he has already designed it to look the way it will look in his normal presentation. So that's someone taking it an extra mile. So then you can drill down some other things that were not possible in Excel. You can also control access. Okay, I share the same report to different managers and general manager. General manager sees everything across Nigeria. Ikoyi manager only sees the reports for his branch. Bagada sees only for his own. So that way, I'm not going to be having to do 7 reports. Say there are 6 branches and 1 national manager. Before, you will have to do, maybe you will do 1 report that has everything. You send that one to national manager. Then you will now filter and copy out the filtered results for Ikoyi into another Excel file. Send that one to Ikoyi manager. So essentially, even if you can do it faster, it's still something that takes time, because every time you have to extract different versions of the report for different managers, so that one manager will not see what is for another manager. But in Power BI, nope. Do that 1 report, just configure who is for who and what they should see, and that's it. So it allows it. Those who are in our courses will have seen the videos around, and you can watch on YouTube. Maybe I'll put the YouTube link. So for those who are interested on how to practically implement that, you can see the practical side of it. But first of all, the big picture is what I'm taking you through. Then again, remember what I said, your build ones, you automate. But what about managers who still like to get email reports? Every day they want to check in their inbox and see that there is 1 email sitting there that is saying daily reports. So those kind of people, well, you can still settle them, you can still make them happy, and in Power BI is called subscribe. So you go there and you say, you know what, every 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m., the Power BI should automatically extract the report and then email out to the people that need to see it physically in their inbox. So that's it, and it will include the link so that if they want to come back to the Power BI report and it's more interactive and has more than what they see in their screenshots, they can. So that's one cool thing that you can still do with it. So it has Q&A, like AI aspect, where you can ask a question and the answer will come in front of a chart and analysis. Okay, so the end result is you are able to do more with your past, with our normal reactive report, what has happened in the past. And because it allows you to connect live to your data source, you can also do what is happening right now. You can be as close to real time as possible or as you desire. And then with that, you have more richer data to build the prediction. So you always know you are building your prediction based on the most recent data, and you have a richer set of data points. Okay, so now this is just to show you some ideas around what some people have done and how people are utilizing this new engine, this whole new visual engine to create more nice looking or better nice looking reports. Okay, so let's see. This is the end anyway. So I'm going to share this, and so that's number one out of the way. Okay, so anybody have a question before I move to the second part of what I want to demo to us? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, so if no question, then I move on. Then I'm going to share that slide anyway, so you're going to get the slide. So I move on to.
I have a question.
All right, so fire on.
My name is Mr. Michael.
All right.
Okay, I'm listening to this discussion on Power BI. I want to ask a question based on assuming, like now, the kind of I do. I generate daily reports, and for us to generate these daily reports, we get the information from the bank.
Okay.
For us to generate this report, we have to take them one at a time, because Power BI has a form of automation that can extract this information from the bank directly.
Okay.
Thank you.
The answer is yes and no.
Okay.
So let's start with yes. Is able to pull data from some banks. That's where the no part comes in. And I don't think Nigerian banks are yet among the kind of banks that, because the bank must be one that supports API calls to it. So, and most Nigerian banks don't yet do that. We are kind of behind the curve when it comes to all those kind of technology stuff, especially in all this heavily regulated industry where it's not like there's competition to move them to do things. But like in US, in UK, and some other developed countries, even when you use QuickBooks or you use some of these personal expense app, this app that help you to track your personal expenses, some of them let you to connect to your bank from the app, and you will see as you pay in some grocery store, the thing it has captured it, has grouped it. So that's the only thing that is limiting us in Nigeria, that because the banks don't yet do that, so you find out that none of us can connect programmatically, connect our analysis tool or even Excel or Power BI directly to your bank account, and it's pulling the data directly and doing analysis. But the ability is there in Power BI. It's just that unfortunately for us in Nigeria, our banks are not. So what our banks do is they let you export it. So you export the data from your bank into Power BI or into Excel. So what you will probably do in your case is you will still not be able to bypass the exporting. But what I've seen some people do is, the banks, sometimes they let you choose that, okay, it should email you your statement. So if you do that, I've seen one demonstration where someone, that was what he did for some things, no, not for bank, but I know it will work for this case too, where he said it that, okay, the thing should come as an email attachment to him. Then he connected Power BI to his email and told you that whenever any email comes from a particular email address, which could be your bank sending email address, as an attachment, you should download that attachment into Power BI, extract the data, and do all of those things. So that is really going to be very complex. But one very easy way is just you create a particular folder for those bank statements. Well, it's just like 1 minute work. Download the bank statements, put it in that folder, then Power BI can pick it up. Excel too can pick it up if it's Excel you use, and it will just do every other thing you normally would do from there. I don't know if you got my reply.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody with another question? All right. If you have any question anytime, you can always I'm seeing like a notification. Okay, someone is raising his hand. You can talk immediately. Ademide Adewale, please, yes, go ahead and ask your question. You don't need to raise your hand. Just ask it, fire away. Because I can see your hand raised as if you want to say something. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. My question is when I was using Power BI, making some analysis, right? I was trying to integrate the use of Python scripting.
Okay.
For visualization. However, I wanted to collect an input, like a manual input from the user, then use it to generate a calculation that will forecast the revenue rate or return rate for that particular share, that particular investment. Sorry.
Okay. Great.
So I did that. Although on Python script, like Visual Studio, it works. But putting it on Power BI, it was giving me errors.
Okay. So when you say it's giving you errors, what kind of error? Is it that your Python script did not even run, like it errors out? Or is that the stage of interaction with the report?
Yes, at that point where it's going to input, and I think it was highlighting the import function also. Like it was highlighting. I was thinking maybe it was not allowed on Power BI. I don't understand why it was giving that error.
So Power BI, for not just even Python and also R, it's not all packages. Let me see if I can grab a list, because one time I had the same issue. So there's one documentation on Power BI that shows you the acceptable packages that you can import. So libraries that you can, if you're using R, it will be libraries. If you're using Python, it will be packages that you can import. So they don't support all libraries or all packages. So I'm guessing maybe one of the package that you are using is part of the ones that are not supported. So that's one thing about it. All right. So I want to move to the next aspect of my demonstration. Okay. So some of you would have come across reports that you're like, these reports look really nice. How did this person achieve it? So there are two ways people typically design their reports. There's the ones where you just limit yourself to whatsoever you see on your Power BI screen, right? So let me try and create one example. I don't know if you have tried to use this Power BI data sets, but this will be a nice avenue for me to show you how it works. So I already have some reports that I've published in Power BI that I want to just do a quick demo for us. So instead of me re-importing the sample files, doing the linking, the modeling, like this data table is related to this other data table and all of that work, I can just click on Power BI data sets And if I'm logging, great, it will show me all the data sets I have access to. If I'm not logged in, it will ask me to log in. So I can see, okay, these are all the data sets I have access to. You can see some of these data sets are not even my own. My name is Michael Olafusi. So there's someone else, Anna Akinlabi, there's Emmanuel Oduma. So they've probably shared it with me in such a way that I have access to the data set, right? So let's say I pick this one. So this is my demo. I can use this one. So I can say, okay, I want to connect to this Power BI course. And then I click on create. So I'm picking this one. I'm going to click on create, right? So let me just do that. Click on this, click on create, and it's going to go and grab it for me. So it's doing its work. I hope you can all see my screen clearly. Okay, good. And right now, it has done that. It has brought in all the data, right? So these are all the tables I have in that particular data set. And more importantly is the fact that it has done the relationship to it, has brought in all the relationship that were already existing in that data set. So I don't need to rework. Okay, so that's the advantage that we get with it. And then I can even also, okay. All right, so I'm going to start creating some reports of these data sets. Okay, so all right. I want to focus on the design. Okay, so two ways. Way number one, I say I want to bring in our company logo. Yeah. Logo. Okay. I put that maybe in one corner over there. Okay. I want to add a slicer that will allow you to select currency. So add a slicer. Now this currency, I want it so that you can toggle between different currency settings. So do you want to analyze in Naira or in Yen? So I will say you should do as drop down. I hope my screen is not too tiny. Is it too tiny that you want me to increase zoom, or you can see clearly? What did we say?
No, I can manage to see. It's tiny, but I can manage to see.
Let me try something, then you can tell me if this that I'm trying is better for you. So there is this app called Magnifier. So if I go there, it allows me to be able to pick multiple. When it comes up, you will see how it works anyway. Okay, so it allows me to be able to, whatever I put my mouse on, you will see it bigger in size. The only problem is just that whatever I'm doing is duplicated. Like there is this upper side of it where things are big in size, and there's the lower side of it where things are a bit now tiny. But let's say I use this now. So what happens is if I come here, you will see that anything I'm doing, you can see it clearer on this upper side of the screen. And you can see the general layout on the lower. Is this one also okay? Should I go ahead with this approach?
It's okay.
Okay, all right then. So I'll
yes, sir, it's okay, sir.
Okay, all right then. So I'm going to set this to be drop down. So you see, I've set it to drop down list. Okay, great. So, and then let me just minimize this. So I'm going to now tell Power BI that, no, the thing about this approach is it's not easier for the instructor. So I go to here, I would say I don't want a header. So that way it will not be showing any header. Then also because in the currency selection, I don't want it to be multiple selection. You are supposed to be able to select only one currency at a time. You shouldn't be able to select more than one currency. So what do? I turn on single select. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to now position this where I think it should be. So I'm going to just quickly drag this. I think it's better up here. Okay, so I reduce so that way you can pick between any two currencies and my report should reflect that currency that you have chosen. I also want to do something similar for years. So I had slicer, I go to dates, I pick year, so that way you can toggle between years. So I do that, and then once it comes, I don't want it this way. I want it to be a list. So you will always see this tiny stuff here that you click on, and you can choose display option. So I want it to be a list. Now it comes in a vertical list. I want it to be horizontal list. So I'm going to go back here and say general and say orientation should be horizontal. And then I'm going to make it a bit smaller in width, and I'm going to position it here. Okay. Then I also wanted to be able to pick a month. So I wanted to be able to pick a month. I go here, slicer, then I add month to it, but this month I want it to come as a drop down that you can multi-select. So I come here, I'm going to make it a drop down, which, as you're already aware, is you come here, you choose drop down, and voila. Then I want it to be able to multi-select. Unfortunately, the default is not that easy to multi-select, because every time you select, it will deselect the previous one. So what I will do is I will go to the I go here, and then I go to this selection control. I will turn off this multi-select with control. Right. So that way the multiple selection becomes possible. So it becomes like a checkbox. Okay, so that way you can easily select, because not everybody knows that control is what they would press to hold it. So this, I found out that some cases it's better to just put this kind of default. Because space is premium, I'm going to turn off the slicer header, so that I don't need to say it's month. That's one problem that you have to be creative about in Power BI. Unlike Excel, where you have like infinite space, in Power BI, you have to be very deliberate about space. Otherwise, you will just see that if you're not careful, you will only be able to put 1/3 of what you want to put in the report. Okay, so you see this I've done. When you look at some people's reports, some things there and you're like, how did these people achieve all this kind of awesome looking can you see this? See the way this person did. Let me see if I can show another one. See how this person did his own slicer, the backgrounds. You'll be like, this looks really nice. And sometimes you go at you're at a blank as to how to achieve this. I will show you the easiest and kind of like fastest way that most people use. So it's called PowerPoint. At this stage now, I have to remove the magnifier because I'm going to temporarily turn it off. So with PowerPoint, we can do something really awesome. So what do? I go to PowerPoint. So PowerPoint already has the kind of layout. In fact, so that I don't stress myself, new slide, blank. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm picking a blank slide. So new slide, blank. I can delete this one. So this is good for me. So this already has the shape of your default Power BI. So you can decide that, what, I want my report to have a kind of background, a consistent background. So you can decide that. So I'm not good with colors. So what I do is there is one website that I go to that helps me with getting modern colors that are, so that you don't go and use colors that makes everybody know that you are not you're not graphically gifted. So all I just do, I go to this website, coolors.com. Let me paste it for you in the chat box. Let me just quickly paste that there. Coolors.com for modern complementary colors. So that way, in fact, if you know your company's color codes, you can use this to get colors that will go with it. So if you know that your company's color is, you get the specific from color code. If you don't know how to get the color code, you can go and pick your logo. When you pick your logo, you can use something that will extract the color code. So in PowerPoint, there's this thing called like dropper, or I used to forget the name. Let me just, if I go to, I'm going to, let's see, fill. Okay, if I go here, you see this high dropper. So if you pick it and you put it on your company color, any of them, and you click on it, right? So I can go back and go and get the what do they call it? The name of this color. So I can see the code for this color. This is the code for this color. I can now go to that coolors and paste this there and tell it to get me complementary colors. So once I do this, I will lock this color and I'll be pressing space, and it will be telling me colors that go along with it. As you're pressing space, it will keep giving you other colors that blends with it. This, I don't like this one. Okay, so let me try this one. So I grab this and then I come here. Where is the empty PowerPoint? This one. The empty PowerPoint. So I come here and then I can, so for that place where I want to put, like, it's almost like a header anyway, you know, this part of my report, this part here. So I will like it to look distinct from the other part of my report, right? So let's see how I can easily do that without, I don't know colors. I'm the worst kind of person design-wise. So you can be sure that you are learning from the best person to teach you, because I'm not good with colors. In training classes, I'll be teaching and I'll be going around and I'll see the participants doing their own report is better than me, the teacher. And sometimes I used to be like, before I used to be sad about it, but after some time I got used to it. So I turn off the border colors. So I say no outline. And then for fill, so for fill now, I'm going to now paste that stuff I copied. I hope it's still in memory. Good. So I paste it. So that's the color that I want it to have. And then I can just go to save as. This is not too okay. Yeah, the length looks okay. If I'm worried about the length, I can always try to go and find the actual length I want. But no worries. I'm going to go to save as. I'm going to click on browse. I'm going to choose. I typically use JPEG, but you can use PNG also. So say I go with the JPEG I normally use. Then I go to these tools here. So because it's design now, and the better your stuff looks, or the better for you kind of. So I go to this compress picture or whatever, and I say high quality. So in case if I have any picture there or anything, it always does in high quality. So I'm going to not worry about the name of the presentation too. I go with the default. Yeah, I say export just this one, and then I can go back here and I click on empty space. I go here, and you will see that I have page background. So that's what I go to, page background. I go to add image, and then I pick that one. Where did I save it? Okay, so this is it, presentation 2. Bring it. You will not see any difference. I don't know why they make this the default setting. Why should they put it at 100% transparency? It beats me, but it's not difficult to change. Voila, I swap it. And then with this, I can now say, okay, for this guy, turn off background color so that my home background flows through. Great. Then for this one to turn off background colors. Okay. So you see how it's beginning to blend. Turn off background color. Can position this a bit more side. And then let me just drag this further down. Okay. So I'm having that effect. Okay. Again, like I told you, I'm not the best with colors, but you can see how I can help my life with those things. I think it's a bit too tall, so I can go here and adjust the height. And if I don't like that color, I can always go and look for another color. So let's just see, maybe we'll find a better shade. Isabelline, I don't know where they get names of all these colors. But then this one looks like a lighter shade because I'm going to just change that to this. Okay, so let's go test this one out. So again, save as JPEG. Where is the JPEG? Yes. Yes. Here, page background. Replace the background with this. Voilà. This looks better for me. I think this looks better anyway. And then the same approach. So if I know what I want, so sometimes you even finish your design here. So you can like come here, give the entire PowerPoint stuff a background color. So if you are good with colors or you want a kind of like a light on dark background, then great. So let's say maybe that's what I want, a light on dark background. Maybe our company color. So I copy this. And I make this just that. I don't want what to look like color riot. Let me pick. Let's try it anyway. If it looks like color riot, then okay. Then okay, good. So let's try out what this looks like. So go there, pick this to save. Just a slide back here. Remove this, put that in there. Okay, and then whatever tools I want to add. So I want to add so I want to add a slicer for selection of branch. So branch. Okay, and then I want to add another slicer for, I'm just going to copy this, paste. No, that's strange. Copy, then paste. This one for product. So this thing does an auto snap. When you get it, it automatically snaps to let you align a length. Then I had for, we have different discount rates. Okay. I'm going to change this to lists. So I want to show you something quite interesting. By the way, I can tell it to auto size all of this to, it's called under align format, align. I can tell it to distribute vertically equally so that the spacing will be consistent, equal spacing out throughout them all. And then, so inbuilt in Power BI itself, you can add some effects. Okay, so you can add shadow. Are you seeing the effect of shadow now? Are you seeing how? So I'm going to add shadow to all of them. You can even configure the depth and some things about the shadow, the positioning. But then you can see how if I add shadow, it kinds of makes it looks a bit not usual. Then once you get the whole idea, and if you are more color gifted, you can take it further than what I am doing anyway. So the key thing is the fact that you can always merge PowerPoint to create a much more blending. So if you look at these ones that I have here, most of them are created with PowerPoint. So this one definitely with PowerPoint, especially where you even see those icons. Which other one do I know for sure? This one to create a PowerPoint. So that way they are able to, it reduces the, because you're making as background. So it reduces the amount of visuals of objects you use here. And at the same time, which means that your report will not drag. And at the same time too, you are having a very good look and feel to your report. Normally, we want to change the color of this item here. So I can come here to choose a custom color. Let's see if I still have in memory. Let me go and drag our No. Not that one. It is the background, yeah. Okay, so if you are good with colors, you can achieve a lot better than what I am doing. But you get the whole concept, the fact that you can mix three things. What you already have in Power BI with the benefit of PowerPoint having the same slide shape, and you can create a background that you can reuse, because that's the advantage. You know, I can always come to page 2, reuse the same, so I don't have to repeat. And also, it's resource-wise, because it's bringing it as background, it's not going to be dragging on the performance of your reports. The max it can do is add to the size, which is a very small thing it will add. Okay, so I've even seen cases where people bring it as a code, but then I just want you to understand the fact that most of these reports that you go on data. That brings me to another interesting thing. If you like to improve your knowledge of Power BI, go to these data stories. So if you go to Power BI data stories, I'm going to grab you the link. Power BI data stories. You will see a lot of interesting reports that for some of you that you used to go blank when it comes to design ideas. You're going to get a lot of design ideas. If you're in my category of where design don't come easy to you, you can always go here and get insights. You see from different people's. I've even seen some people do games out of Power. So I'm going to copy that and share with you. And then from there, you can try to improve your Power BI design, your report design. Okay. And by the way, even this one, there are many other things you can do. You can make the header pop up differently. So I can say the slicer header should have the background color should be different. Again, I've already told you to ignore my color sense. But then for someone who is very good with colors, you can pick a color that will make it a lot nicer to look at. So for me, I'm not so good with colors. So most times, once I achieve a small effect, I just leave it as that. So like this here is one report that I just put the minimum type of color I can and moved on with my life. I focus more on the functionality. But then one cannot just keep himself blinded to the other aspect of improving his report layout. Okay, so any questions on this? Any questions? Right, so if no questions, we're almost getting to the end. Let me just go back to the agenda and check. Okay, so this is the demo on the report design. And the other part is question and answer, which is where we are. I can generate questions in the next 5 minutes if you do not have any questions. So question I will generate, like right now, question number 1, which is what I hear people do ask me a lot is, you know, people sometimes get confused about the fact of how come we have to interact with 2 separate sides of Power BI. There's this Power BI desktop, which I have one app that used to make my window to fade. So which is this one, which used to build the report. Then there's the web version too, where you go to powerbi.com. So I see sometimes people learning Power BI, focusing on just one aspect and never bothering to put as much effort in the other aspect. So a lot of attention goes to this one. But the truth is, yeah, this is whatever you do here, whatever you achieve here is worth the effort. But then, if there are some things you don't expose yourself to here, there's a lot of value you are leaving on the table. So I just want to quickly show you like 3 or 4 things that you can do here. So if you are fortunate that you are the admin or you are using an account that you have full control over, there is first of all these settings. So at this portion now, let me see if I can increase my screen zoom. Okay, great. So you see this setting, then there is admin portal. So if you go to admin portal, you can customize the look and feel. So everybody in your company or anybody in your organization, you can see the way I've done it. I've uploaded our company logo, I've created our company banner page, and that is why, that stuff is kind of showing everywhere. Our company logo is here. And then whenever you log in, you always see good evening, your name, and there's our company banner there. So that's one thing that you can easily do. And another one, let me just drag this away. How do I push this once? Okay, great, it's gone off. Then another one is a lot of people used to get hung up on, okay, I want to do some things on mine, so I'm going to just quickly show you an example. I've done a report. I'm learning. There's nothing confidential about this report. I want to use it to do a showcase. I want maybe my manager to take a look at it and let me know what he thinks, or I want someone to look at it. I'm doing a demo. It's a lot faster to just come here and say, get a link, publish to web, and I get a link. So this gives me a link that I can copy. So this link I copy. If I have WhatsApp open or if I have my email open, all I just do is go there, put the person's name and say, blah, blah, check these that we discussed. Put the link, send, and the person doesn't need to have Power BI. He doesn't need to, have anything. All he just needs to do is once he gets the link, he clicks on it, whether on his phone or on his computer, and he sees the report. So this makes it very easy, especially if you're in the consulting space or you want to convince someone who is not yet even thinking Power BI or is not ready to start understanding that, okay, I have to go and register in one place. So you can just share this really quick. The person can see it and the person can like, oh, this look really nice, and then he's seeing it on his phone, he's seeing it on his tablet, he's seeing it on whatsoever device. So the issue is that sometimes when you try to do this stuff that I've done, you can even render it in your website. So like for us now, what we did was on one of our websites, we rendered the analysis. So we told the web designer to embed it because this thing gives us an embed code. Can you see this iframe? It's called embed code. So once you just give your web developer the embed code, it puts it there, and right there on your website, it renders too. So that's another way you can take advantage of this. So you can embed it in other things. Okay, so that's one. Then 2 is, though I mentioned it, you can export to PowerPoint, but there's also export to PDF. And if you use SharePoint, you can get the SharePoint link that you can share with your people, right? And then if you use Teams, so if you use Microsoft Teams in your office, right, you can go to your team, so the teams you are part of, and you go here. I hope you can see my screen. I can say I want to add a new tab. But now this tab I want to add something from Power BI. So what do? I go here and say I want to add from Power BI. And then it will connect to my account. It will show me all the things I have in Power BI and ask me which of them I want to add to my teams. So I can see my organization, and then I can see the reports, I can say maybe I want this one. I want it to add it to my team page. So if I'm in a group in teams, so we have created some teams. Maybe there is maybe I'm in the, sales in my company. There is already a teams account, like a group that is for sales. If there's a report that I need all of us to be aware of, to collaborate, if not collaborate, but at least be able to access from within our space, can add it. So that's another nice thing that you can do. And then all of this anyway is just to tell you that there are many things here too that they pack a punch, that you don't want to focus too much all the time on just this one. And because I noticed that people focus too much on the desktop and they neglect exploring what they have here. So that's the only thing. My time is up. So that's it. Any questions before we just say bye-bye for today? Any questions? Anybody has something he wants to share? You can also share. You can present. I can give you access to present. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Dapo, go on.
Okay, yes, I have a question. I want to appreciate for what you have done. My question is around licensing, especially what was shared now, right? For organizational data, most organizations don't want to. It's easy for you to say, okay, I'm running the demo. I want to, embedded codes. I want to copy it out on our website. Why? Because the data is there's no patent around the data, so to say. But in a situation where it's a patent data, or some data that you don't want out in the space or on social platform, how do you guide against that? That is one. Again, you also want to manage your license exposures, right? Probably can only afford to have 2 units at home, rather than you can't afford having 5 users when you have probably maybe 10 users on your. I hope it does not apply to. Then if you do this within Microsoft Teams, would you still be able to show your report? Every one of them is able to access that report without having messages. You get what I mean? That's my question.
Okay, I though at some point I was losing you, but I think I got the question. The number one is the one around, okay, the data is the type that you don't want to use that embed code, because the embed code, anybody that comes upon that link can access, and so there's this confidentiality or sensitivity to the data that is not a risk you want to take. Then how do you overcome that? So in my own case, what I've had to do sometimes is to give the person my own login account, or if it's someone that I can physically approach, like when I say physical, we're in the same office. Sometimes I'll go there, I'll open an account for the person. I'll show him, because it's just to open the account and to log in, that's all. But someone who doesn't know Power BI, he will not want to you will want to start asking questions. Okay, what is this Power BI? So I just go there, I'm like, you know what, can you see this report? Okay, I want to share with you, but I need to help you set up your account. And then powerbi.com, he puts in his email address, and that's a good thing with most companies who already use Office 365. The thing will even say, oh, I recognize you, just log in. So the person feels more at ease. Oh, it's the same thing we use in the office for our Outlook and our SharePoint. And okay, now I get it. Why have you not told me this long ago? And once he logs in, that's all. So anything I share with him, he just clicks on the link, it will automatically see. The only problem is just that because now sharing has been moved to Pro license, most times what I do is I always help them to enable Pro trial, which is what I used to do is I just go to workspace here. So once I go to workspace, I will say create. So for someone who does not have pro license and is the first time he's trying to do something that requires pro, the thing will say, you need pro license to do this. You want to enable the pro license? I say yes. And so in a very short way, I've enabled the 60 days pro trial, and that's what I usually do in most cases. Then in some cases where I cannot be there to help the person, so worst case scenario, I just give the person my own login details, or I create an account. So like in our training, many people don't have company accounts, or they are cautious, especially those who work in oil companies. They don't want to mix anything that is their own private stuff with company stuff, so they don't want to use that. What we now did is we created an account that we give everybody in our training that, just use this if you don't want to use your own. And that way, sometimes we even tell them that they will benefit from even seeing what their colleagues are practicing with and getting ideas too. So there are those cases where I go ahead and I create a demo account, or I share my own account login details for the person to access that sensitive thing that I cannot do embed code for. Then as regards the team questions, so for the team question, that's why I think this one is really very useful. It's only you that matters. It doesn't, you see, when I clicked on it, it was just me, what may I have access to that it concerns. It does not care about, so assuming I add you to this team, even if you don't have Power BI at all, you will see this because it's working with my own authentication. So whatever me I have access to and I bring here, every other person that I have added in this team or that we're in the same group in these teams, they can see it. They don't even need to log into anything. They don't need to. Also equally in SharePoint, just because we don't use SharePoint. So that's why I cannot demo SharePoint for you. In SharePoint, the same thing too. So I've seen cases where some companies, that's what the IT decided to do. Instead of us buying license for everybody in a particular department, you know what, we'll do it on SharePoint, so that those people, when they go to their own area in SharePoint, they can see the report that concerns them. And so I've seen people being creative with how they use all of those, all this share to team, share to SharePoint. Did I manage to cover your questions?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, anybody with any other question? And also too, if you have anything that you want to share, it could be something that you've come across that you feel other people should be aware of, or it could just be ideas, it could be tips, it could be like, maybe what you learned in your own journey. This thing is supposed to be a mix of me showing you something, then interaction, and other people sharing their experience or any trick. I still have like 5 minutes that I can spare before we end for today. So nobody has anything he wants to share. There's something that Mr. Dapo has done that I think I should share with everybody. So he's done this very nice dashboard. Mr. Dapo, is it fast for you to copy and paste the link for us, or should I go and get it from I know okay. I have it in my Telegram. So it's a very interesting thing, and it's so cool that maybe one day we'll bring you as a special guest to present how you built it, because some of the things you did there are the kind of things that a lot of people, they struggle with, making the pictures to show as a when you pick someone's name, his own picture of what comes up. Let me just quickly try and grab it.
Okay, I think I have it. Let me just paste it.
Okay, great, good. Thank you. I'm going to go to the link so everybody can see it. And if you also want to be featured there, which means you must be an expert in a Power BI, you can message him. You can message Mr. Dapo, and he might probably ask you some questions before he agrees to there are some things he watch out for. But the key thing is so that it doesn't look like I'm always the only person that you are seeing. Let me just pick someone else. Okay, great. Can you see this? That this is Power BI, but then he has used I think he is much more good with visual stuff. So you can notice that this is a slicer, and you can see that there's a search there. So in case you want to know how to enable search in your slicer, if you just go here, can you see my screen? You see this search here. If you click on it, is like an on and off button. So if you turn it off, instantly you start having a search functionality in your slicer. Okay, so maybe I will not talk too much so that it will come and show us all the special things that you have to combine. You can see this good afternoon, see this date. You can see how some of these graphics kind of pop up. It has used some of those shadow effects. You can see some things that, anyway, check it out. And these are clickable links. So if you get any ideas that you would like to also have implemented in yours, maybe I will speak with him behind the scene, and if he's okay to spending 30 minutes to just walk us through, some of the things he combined in creating these. I'm sure a lot of us, how it comes about the design. In fact, in the beginning, everything was a blank page. So how did he even conceptualize that kind of a layout, that this is how I want this layout to come out? Because that's where I struggle at. In Excel, it's a struggle that does not come up because nobody cares too much about structure in Excel, But when it comes to Power BI, that's where it becomes something that becomes really glaring. So maybe you will share some of those tips with us, and then I just wanted to chip that in. So any other questions anybody has? Any question, or we can close. Can we get access to the video? Yes. So I will send it. Just make sure you join the community so that this is the community meetup page, so that I can send it today and you will get it, because I can email everybody from there. Someone wants to say something? All right, so I think that's the end though. So thank you all for joining. See you next time, same time next week. And if you want to share things with us too, yes, in fact, this is a platform for you to gain visibility too. The ecosystem is still growing, so the more you position yourself for visibility, sometimes the better, and whatever you share about, you will know better about it. So please, let's not always try to take a back seat. Even if what you think you want to share is something that you don't see it as a big deal, no problem. It's sometimes good for us to be reminded of even the simple things too. So thank you very much, and you'll get an email with the slides and any other thing that we have shared in links. So see you next week. Have a nice rest of the weekend. Well, the weekend has ended. Have a nice week ahead. So thank you very much. And
thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, sir.
Have a nice week.
And you too, sir.